Dutch Mantell.
Oh, I love Dutch. He came in, Dusty, we had a meeting, Charlotte, and Dusty said, I'm going to bring in the Kansas Jayhawks. And we didn't know what the heck a Kansas Jayhawk was. And he said, I'm going to bring Dutch Mantell and Bobby Jaggers. And we all knew Dutch, but none of us knew Bobby Jaggers. And I remember Road Warrior Animal asked Dusty, who the heck's Bobby Jaggers? And Dusty said, well, he's good for the dressing room. We're like, okay, what about drawing money? But man, I love to work Dutch, well, him and Bobby Jaggers both were just so, he was another one that would give, you never had to worry about getting hurt, in our business when you could, people understand when you could really trust. Dutch was the best. One of my highlights of my career was when his sweet granddaughter passed away, years ago, and they did a benefit show for the family, and I was able to go up and just to love on Dutch and the family, and then still, pray for him every day, but just to be there for them, during that part. So just an amazing person.
Teddy Long.
Oh, I love Teddy. And I say that a lot. But, I was there. Teddy deserves everything that he gets. I was there when he was refereeing in Atlanta, and he would love to go get us, because we couldn't leave TV, but he would do anything he could for the boys, whether it's, go get us some water, whatever, because we couldn't leave. And so to see him go from referee and just one of my, best friends, that's what I hang on to, Jane, is to be there when these guys start and know how hard they worked. Young fans may just see Teddy Long, they've been the general manager of WWE, but they don't know the journey that he took, to get there. So, yeah, special guy.
Manny Fernandez.
Oh, Lord. Manny, me and him has been like a good marriage. We argue and then hug each other. To me, Manny was one of the greatest workers in the world. But now, if you messed up in TV, Manny let you know it real quick. I always, to this day, I love Manny. I mean, I still hear stuff where he does a podcast and will say something bad about George. I'm just glad he's mentioning my name, But if you go back and look at his early Florida stuff, it's just unbelievable. His matches with Harley Race, Manny was something else.
Is he the purveyor of maybe some of the tallest tales in wrestling?
Well, what's funny about our business is people would say, I don't believe Manny. And then they would tell you the same. They would tell you a story that you couldn't believe. So does that make sense? It's like, I'm thinking, we're all telling fish stories here. It's just, who can we get to hear us? And so I just posted something on Facebook about how in Atlanta TV, Abdullah the Butcher wanted to hit me in the head with a metal staircase. And I said no. And he cussed me out. Well, later that day, Cactus Jack hit him in the head with a metal staircase. And Abdullah cussed out Cactus Jack. So none of us know what the heck we're doing, okay? So I laugh when guys, all of a sudden, pro wrestling's got a conscience. But yeah, man, he was way out there.
Jimmy Garvin.
Oh, the best. Let me tell you something. Jimmy Garvin had, when he was doing the thing with Precious, he had I got a story about everybody, Jane, but he had a long black, he wore it. Steve Regal, our buddy, Mr. Electricity, wore it in AWA, a tuxedo, rhinestones. And Jimmy Garvin came back from TV one time and threw it over to me. And I thought, well, he just wants me to hold it. So I held it. And he, gets dressed, whatever. He's getting ready to leave. And I go to give him the jacket. And he says, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm giving you back your tuxedo. He said, no, I gave it to you. I thought, yeah, right. You're going to take it back later, but I still have it at home. I mean, are you kidding me? I should have said, what about the boots too? But he lost all of his hair. He come up to me at a convention and I was setting my table up and he said, can I get your autograph? And I said, no, get away from me. I mean, I didn't know, there was no hair. And I didn't know, last time I saw him was the hair, but I said, no, get away. I said, you gotta get away from me. I'm setting up. I think I called him a goof and, get away from me, you outlaw. And he finally says, you really don't know who I am, dude. Then I heard the voice. But you know what's amazing? A buddy of mine just ran. This is how it goes back to don't be a jerk, okay? My neighbor, 2 days ago, I'm going to get in the car. My neighbor waves, real nice guy, him and his wife. He says, I got a story. I said, oh, God, okay, now? He said, I met one of your friends. This is 2 days ago, James, in my yard. He said, Jimmy Garvin. I said, what? How do you even know Jimmy Garvin? He wrestled in 25 years. Well, Jimmy Garvin loves Mustang cars. My neighbor just happens to collect Mustang cars. So they're horse trading back and forth, fenders and stuff. They get talking about wrestling. Next thing I know, my neighbor said, man, I live there's a wrestler across the street, George South. And then Jimmy Garvin, he said, Jimmy Garvin lit up like a Christmas tree and says, please tell George South how much I love him. So see, if I was a jerk years ago, Jimmy Garvin said, yeah, you tell him, but it's amazing. That's one thing I take pride in. Jimmy Garvin, I still got the ring jacket. He ain't getting it back.
T. Joe Khan and Mark Gouline.
Oh, listen. And T. Joe passed away. Okay, you got Barbarian and Warlord. The only thing that competes is the Road Warriors. So anybody would not stand a chance. So they got Paul Jones's army. Okay, so he's got Barbarian, Warlord, Ivan, and T. Joe Khan. And all these guys are rough except Ivan. Ivan was the best. So they were getting them ready for the Road Warriors. So Dusty tells them, guys, I want you to hit the ring and be vicious. So me, Gary Roll, and Tommy Angel are waiting in the ring. And so here comes Paul Jones. He turns his army loose. And as they're running to the ring, okay, we didn't even talk about it, but all of us thought, I'm going to Ivan. We're running to Ivan. So it was Ivan laughed about it for years. So here's three grown men. We didn't know what each of us was going to do because the other ones were going to hurt us. And T. Joe Khan's coming in there like the Road Warrior. So all three men went running straight for Ivan. And James, on TV, you can see Ivan put on the brakes, like Bugs Bunny. It freaked him out, but here's these three grown men. We ran right by T. Joe Khan. And then all of a sudden, Ivan had to beat all three of us up. But T. Joe never, I always felt sorry, not really sorry for him, but he never stood a chance because they wanted him to be like the next Road Warrior, really. And then one of the nicest guys, Mighty Wilbur, remember him? Mm-hmm. They brought him in and he was just a country boy. I'll tell you something about Mighty Wilbur. He always wore coveralls. So we got a 300-mile trip. I put him in the back seat of my car. It slanted like this. He was so big. 100 miles down the road, I hear crunching. I think, what the heck is going on? We ain't stopped to eat. And I look back and here's Wilbur. He's eating a taco. And I don't know where it come from. It came out of the bib, and he took a few bites, put it back. I never asked questions, but I always told Mighty Wilbur. People thought that was a gimmick. He told me, he said, George and Charlotte, I'm going to bring my three boys to meet you. I said, man, I love that. He gets out of his truck and his three boys get out of his truck and they're all dressed like their dad. They all got coveralls on. They all got the red bandana, but it wasn't a gimmick. And what was so funny, they tried to make him a heel. This is one of Dusty's ideals that didn't work. He was like the nicest guy. I remember they tried to tag him with Ivan and he would grin, like he would laugh the whole time. And Ivan used to get so mad. Here's this vicious Russian. And his partner looked over and his partner's laughing. He just couldn't be mean. But he passed away too, Mighty Wilbur. But he was just, everybody said, man, that's a great gimmick. I said, no, he's really like a farmer. Okay.